Welcome to our third podcast for 2010. We trust you've enjoyed New South Wales and Queensland. Today we head south to Victoria, where our head of Victoria, Mr Hamish Sutherland, and his team, consisting of Shane Burns, Director of our CBD team, Grant Tinker, Director in our South Yarra office, and Richard Height, Director in our Mulgrave office, will cover off on the Victorian market.
I'm Hamish Sutherland, Regional Director of CB Richard Ellis Office Services, and my first panellist is Shane Burns. Shane, the Melbourne CBD and Docklands market has been the most robust market of all the major centres in Australia over the last 2 or 3 years. Could you provide an overview of how you see that market today?
Hamish, the Melbourne CBD and Docklands have had an exceptional 9 months now, with some strong inquiry from some blue chip tenants. Most recently, NAB have pre-committed to a site at the South East Stadium for over 60,000 square metres. We've had ATO pre-commit to 38,000 square metres at the Walker site at Quattro, and we've also had Origin Energy commit to around 25,000 square metres at 321 Exhibition Street. There's a number of smaller tenancies in that 5 to 10,000 metre range, and we've still got tenants such as BHP and Freehills in the market, and they're yet to make a decision.
Shane, where do you see the opportunities in the Melbourne CBD and Docklands markets over the next 2 years, and the opportunities for our clients in general?
There are good opportunities now for landlords with virtually no new construction for 2 years. In fact, 717 Burke Street's just being completed. That's the last building of the cycle. The ATO building at Quattro is just about to commence. That's the first building of the next cycle. So there will be a period now for probably 2 years where we've got very limited new supply. We expect from that we'll see some reasonable rental growth. There are opportunities for landlords is probably to bank some floors together where you can. For tenants seeking single floors, there's still a fair bit of choice out there, so they will still be able to get a reasonable deal with a reasonable sort of incentive.
Thanks, Shane. And my next guest is Grant Tinker, Director of Fringe and St Kilda Road Office Leasing. Grant, could you provide an overview of the Melbourne Inner Fringe and St Kilda Road markets as you see it today?
Well, from a St Kilda Road point of view, the vacancy is now about 12%, and we do think that will actually go up to about 14% once a few of the tenants vacate, the likes of LeasePlan, Cadbury. So it has been a tough couple of years. The demand has been soft, and what we're experiencing is that the rents are actually, there's a bit of pressure on rents, downward pressure on rents, and the incentives are going upwards. So not a great picture so far, but from an inner fringe market, it's tightening. There's been some good demand, some deals being done in the previously spec-built stock, the likes of 436 Johnson Street and Elizabeth Street. They are now getting to a point where there's very little remaining stock available. So really a tale of two areas from the St Kilda Road and the city fringe market.
Grant, where do you see the opportunities arising in your market over the next 2 years for our clients?
Well, what we're anticipating that the demand for St Kilda Road, particularly, demand will increase. I think, fingers crossed that the worst of it is over. I think we'll see some more transactions. We have a fair bit of stock available and space available because of the larger tenants vacating, and the trend is that it's really going to attract smaller tenants, so that just means that we need to be doing more deals, and owners need to be ready to roll their sleeves up and do deals. At the end of the day, St Kilda Road is a very, very affordable option when you compare that to the CBD, so I think that's where our target tenants will be, CBD and the tenants that are paying slightly more. Now, from an inner fringe point of view, I think continued stock tightening, demand anticipate will be fairly constant, and I think the big opportunity for landowners out in that neck of the woods is potentially to spec an office building. We've seen in the past that those who have spec have done deals, so I think now's the time to roll the sleeves up and dust off the plans and potentially spec build an office building in that Richmond, Abbotsford inner region.
Thanks, Grant. And my next guest is Richard Height, Associate Director of Suburban Offices. Richard, could you provide an overview of the suburban office market, how you see it today?
We've seen over 30,000 square metres of office space in the suburban markets leased so far this year, which is a pretty good result for the suburban office market, considering that January and February are very slow months. We've seen 7,000 square metres out of Brandon Office Park in Glen Waverley backfilled after Telstra vacated early in 2009. Again, a result that the owners were tickled pink with. We've seen a recent announcement from Telstra again that they'll be vacating 10,000 square metres out of Greenwood Office Park in Burwood. So it's going to leave a significant vacancy for the suburban market. Rents have been fairly steady. On the other hand, we've seen incentives moving in the right direction for landlords, on their way down from a high of 25 to 30% in some cases, down to a more palatable 15 to 20%. I suppose of interest, we've seen a number of development sites over the last 18 months which have been set aside for office projects, unfortunately for the commercial world, being sold as residential projects. So that's the market in summary.
And Richard, that's all very encouraging. And where do you see the opportunities arising in your market over the next 2 years for our clients?
I don't think we'll be seeing too many spec buildings coming out of the ground over the next 2 years. However, on a positive note, I think we'll see a number of pre-commitments transacted. There's at least 2 or 3 major requirements in the market at the moment, and of course we expect that demand to continue. So I wouldn't be surprised to see 3, 4, maybe even 5 pre-commitments transacted over the next 2 years. Property gauge, I think, is now starting to head towards landlords. I think we're certainly going to see landlords taking advantage of lease renewals and market reviews over the next few years to increase their rental income.
I trust you enjoyed today's presentation from our team in Victoria. Next month we travel to South Australia, where our team of Andrew Barr and Michael Fisner will give an overview of the South Australian market. Thank you and goodbye.